Hey, anybody who checks this out, I really appreciate you. My name is Glenn. This is the Now Slapping podcast. And I've done this in a different version before where it was more um, music education, where I'd play songs from different regions, mainly hip hop, because that's what I love, and then tell you about them and who the artists are, et cetera. This show's a little bit different. We're bringing it to a interview format. And first and foremost, who I should have done first was my pops. Rest in peace to my dad. It's his birthday tomorrow. It's September 27, 2022. So that's first and foremost. It's probably I should have did first. I didn't, him and Grammy. But this point of this show is to talk to people who I value their music opinions, who've had an impact on me, people I love and like, point blank. So this first show, I'm really excited because this is my older brother, Brian Maury. What's up, B?
What's up, man?
Man, I'm excited to do this, man. I'm like trying to
25
say the
years in
right
the making, I
words.
think.
Oh, easily, because I've been talking about this forever. But exactly that. So Brian is my dad's godson, and I met Brian probably 3 years old or something at a swimming pool at some apartment I remember, or somehow somewhere as kids, and been a best friend of mine since. So we didn't grow up in the same place. Brian grew up in Southern California. I was in Northern California, but Brian came out almost every single summer. A lot of my, he's the might have been my role model in a lot of ways, someone I look up to, someone I'm proud to call family. And the reason he's on here, taking time out of his busy day as a C-level suite executive for a large litigation law firm. He could actually be working right now, but decided to sit down with his boy and we're gonna talk a little music. So Brian's on here as my first guest because he is one of my great musical influences. He was the one who you really talked to my mom first, and when we started getting into hip hop, I was like, look, don't just throw their tapes out. Listen to it, talk to him. So I have, all my hip hop knowledge. He'd send us up cassette tapes because I'm of that age, and I'm thankful for it because I got to experience all the ranges. He'd send us tapes. I still have some of those tapes. B Man Grooves, one, two, and three. I remember distinctly. Um, Tons of hip hop and just put me on. And we've always discussed music. Made my first computer for college. Been like an advisor to me. Just someone I love and respect. So B, thank you for doing this. I'm super excited, as you could tell from my words. Um,
Yeah, I'm super excited. Like I said, this has been 25 years in the making. We used to talk about, so you'd come down when I was in college and hang out at my apartment at that point in time, and we would spend 2 days doing nothing but
Easy,
making mixtapes. I
easily.
mean, literally just making mixtapes. And back then, they were mixtapes, and
Yeah,
they're physical cassettes. And as time has gone on, I've changed some of those into playlists.
definitely.
And even playlists are kind of like passe at the moment. Right now, it's
I just let them
um,
curate.
yeah, exactly. Now it's Pandora, where you kind of give them one song and they try to figure out the rest.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, so this is yeah, we talked about doing something along the lines of this. Web
Very, very
pages.
long time. Yep.
I
Which we
still
still
I
own the
still
rights to.
own I still own the rights to Hip Hop Convo.
Yeah, it's not going
Um,
anywhere.
so yeah, but anyways, it's this is awesome. I'm glad to be doing this.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And I man, that's another thing for real. Like, yeah, sitting up, literally making mixtapes. Some I still have. You the first one, I think. Dad got XM, and then you had XM Tough, but you knew how to rip from XM.
Yeah,
So
that's
we
right.
actually had the files. So I remember, living with Brian and visiting Brian, just many different levels to it, and having like he said, we just make mix after mix after mix and pick each individual song that went on. And we made lyric mixes and we made beat mixes and we made producer mixes and you name it, we did it. So
Storytelling, the art of storytelling.
one and two, because we
One
couldn't
of
get
my
them all in the
favorite
first one.
mixtapes that we have.
Definitely. So it's, I mean, put each other on a lot of music and just, so this is, anyone watching this is what I'm passionate about. Music and sports are what I'm most passionate about, most likely. I'd say golf. I like golf, it don't like me back. So music and sports, like this is what I talk about. This is what we do. I text Brian random songs all the time. If I think he'll like it, he does the same. We've just shared music. Brian still has probably 250 CDs at his house right now that he can't do anything with. So if you guys know a service that we could do something with the covers or something, hit me on the page, please, or send me an email to gtboy2020 at gmail. So yeah, let's get into it. That's kind of my intro, man. I'm super excited, as anyone can tell. I got to rep my set. But yeah, so man, let's kind of get it started, B. So my thought is just mainly conversational, right? And I'm gonna learn some stuff about you because I've never asked some of these questions. So we always just started sharing the music. So kind of
Yeah.
starting out, like taking it back, growing up, like what was the music that you remember? Was it your grandparents? Was it your parents? Functions?
So there was a lot of music around, and it came from a whole bunch of directions. So my mom's grandfather, this gentleman right here, he set up in his house to have music in every single room, and so he would
Fire.
walk in and hit a switch, and music would be playing everywhere. This is long before people
Yeah, yeah.
had full home sound systems, and it was playing jazz and sorry, not jazz, classical,
It was all
and
synced?
and it, well, he had speaker wire that was running through with
Oh,
small
so but he was playing the
speakers.
same song throughout. It
Oh
wasn't like
yeah,
he had
yeah, it was
different areas.
exact.
That's
Yeah,
tight.
and it was
That's ahead of his
he
time.
would walk. Yeah, he would wake up in the morning or walk in, and he would start playing something that was always low, was always there. So it was
That's fire.
omnipresent. My other grandparents, my grandfather on my dad's side really liked blues, and he was really into it. He would really get into listening to it.
Say
Very
their names
specific
too, B.
set
Like
lists.
honor them. Say their names.
Yeah, well, Clarence is on my dad's side, and we called him Pete, but his name was Lorenzo on my mom's side. And my grandmother and Cornelia, I think she was more into like big band dance, but she didn't really
Okay.
play the music. The music in the house was always kind of dominated by my
Sure.
grandfather on that side. And then my parents were also into music, although while they liked music together, their tastes were really different.
Mm,
My dad was really into, with your dad,
yeah.
they were really into like P Funk, Parliament,
Yep.
that kind of that whole genre of music. And then my mom was really into jazz, and it's
Which makes
obviously
sense.
there's no coincidence that when one of the things that I like about hip hop music is when they use jazz instrumentals and jazz beats, and then you can really see the lyrics pop, right? Because the jazz instrumental in the background is there, and it gives you a little vibe, but it's not overpowering what the MC is trying to do with lyrics. Then there's also the other side of it. Obviously everyone loves a George Clinton sample, and
Me,
all the
especially.
Parliament, yeah, and all Bootsy Collins, all that kind of stuff, and I can appreciate that. And then you know I grew up young listening to music in like the 80s. My music appreciation started in the 90s, but in the 80s. So when I hear 80s samples, I may not, I don't listen to the 80s music song that was on 102.7
Sure.
or whatever it
Yeah,
was,
yeah, yeah.
but I do appreciate the sample, and it brings me back. But at the same time, I can get into how the lyrics work, and I like when people use other people's samples and do something different and flip it. And one person is trying to go fast on the beat, and the other person is trying to slow it down and tell a story. And so I got all of that just because there was a lot of it was eclectic, right? There's classical, there was blues, there was 80s, there was jazz, and then there was all the funk of it. So it was very eclectic, which is interesting. I love music that samples all of that, but my music tastes are very specific.
Okay.
So if I'm listening to
Okay. We
music,
can get into that. Yeah. What do you count as your
yeah,
genre and your
yeah. If
your
when I
style?
listen to music, I don't listen to all of rap. I listen
No.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
it's kind of whittled it. I've whittled down the genre, I would say, for myself over the years.
What would you call it?
Um,
What would you say that you like? What do you consider
yeah,
yourself?
I, I just feel like this is going to sound kind of
It's gonna sound how it's supposed to
snobbish,
sound.
but I call it real hip hop. Like, like the
Yeah.
art. If you take what hip hop was at its earliest form and take it through the years with that focus, um, that's kind of what I like. There's rap artists, and there's some rap artists that I really like, but I've always thought that there was a difference between hip hop and rap.
I agree.
And I think rap is more mainstream, more pop culture. Hip hop is, in my opinion, an art form, and the artists who are able to perfect that art form do something that really can't be done. I mean, when you hear perfect hip hop, there used to be a show on XM that I used to listen to and study. It was called, what was it, Subsonic,
Oh
and
yeah,
they had a tagline. It was like beats, rhymes, and life. When they all come together, it's life. It's really nice, or something like that. That was their tagline. And I feel that way about
definitely.
hip hop. Like you really need to have all of it to make it beautiful. That's not to say that some folks can't hit a rap and be clever and I
Yeah,
won't enjoy
yeah, yeah.
it, but
Everybody got their
but
thing.
yeah, but
But
when I'm
yeah,
listening to music in the car, if you get into my car, most people have an expectation of the type of music that they will hear while they're in my car, and it's not a wide variety, right? It's
yeah.
not
You say,
out there.
I know Karis once said it, and I've always loved this line. He said, "Rap is something you do. Hip hop is something you live."
Yes,
And it's
I
very
think that's
much like all the cultural elements. It's, started obviously, if you don't know what hip hop is, I mean, you're kind of tripping at this point, but, started in New York, and it combines, all these elements of dress and graffiti and, poetry and rapping. And also you have to have the DJ because you have to have the music.
yeah.
And so that's like, it's everything. So I think that would probably best describe you. So if you say that, like real hip hop, define, like, give me, a couple of favorite albums or top artists, or, you know how what's falling in that hip hop
What
range.
should we? Well, all right. So favorite albums. This is a list, and we can talk more about kind of any of, because I was thoughtful about this when we were talking about
Of
doing
course
this.
you
I'm
were.
like, I know this conversation is going. I know this question is going to come, and then I started talking about it. But anyways, going down in no particular order. Favorite albums, and I have had, as Glenn mentioned, I used to buy every single rap
Crazy.
and hip hop album that came out every Thursday for several years. And
Crazy.
then got into the XM and ripping it all and all that other good stuff. But so I had a lot of music. So trying to pick like five was going to be difficult. But some of my favorites here are like Midnight Marauders or Tribe Called Quest. I mean,
Midnight Marauders,
the
classic.
album. That's the album that made me fall in love with hip hop. That's when I knew that this was more than some music that I liked hearing in the background. It was something I wanted to be part of and study and get into. Ready to Die, Biggie, Reasonable Doubt, Jay Z, Blueprint, Jay Z, All Eyes on Me, Tupac,
Yeah,
Death Certificate, Ice Cube, also one of my
yeah, you
favorites.
put us up on that heavy. You played all the time.
Yeah, and lyrically just genius. It also told a story from beginning to end. I thought that was awesome. Wasn't something that everyone was doing back then. Now there's tons of albums that are from beginning to end telling you a story. They put them that way. Death
I gotta
Certificate
go
is
back.
an
See,
old and
I gotta go
favorite. It's
back
great.
and revisit.
Most Def Talib Kweli, their first Black Star album. They are Black Star. Miseducation of Lauryn Hill,
Definitely.
Illmatic Nas,
Damn.
AT Aliens, Outcast, and Aquemini Outcast. Some newer stuff. Oh, actually, finished with the older stuff. Sex Packets by Digital Underground.
And rest in peace, Shargy.
Fantastic Volume 2 by Slim Village, which you put me onto in Hawaii in a parking lot when we couldn't get you in the bar.
Yeah, I was only 19.
Um, and
Rest in
some
peace,
newer,
Jay Dilla.
yeah, for sure. And some newer stuff. Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick Lamar. You also put me onto that. To Pimp a Butterfly, Kendrick Lamar. And then my all-time favorite albums and artists, The Roots. Pretty much anything that they've done.
Yeah,
And
you put me on them.
yeah, and I had to narrow it down for I could list all the albums, but Undone and How I Got Over are
Mm,
probably
mm.
my two
Interesting
favorite
choice. Yeah,
albums that you can listen to from beginning to
big
end.
tipping point for me.
Yeah, and Tipping Point is right
Yeah.
there too. Starting off with Star, right? That was
Oh man,
the story
every
behind
single
how
day.
that album got created is awesome in itself, and it's in the cover art. But yeah, How I Got Over and Undone are two
Damn,
albums that when
Undone's an
I'm coming
interesting
home
one.
from work,
Yeah,
yeah, when I come, I'll put that on in a heartbeat
I gotta go
and
back. A lot of people don't
listen
even
to
know
that.
about it. If you aren't
No,
like
I
heavy
mean
roots.
the Roots. It's funny because 10 years ago, probably even 5 or 7 years ago, the number of people who really knew about the Roots, they were they were people who knew music.
For hip hop heads. Yeah.
Yeah, and now I can say, oh yeah, my favorite group is the Roots, and they're like, oh yeah, we love them too, and it's because they're on the show
And if
and
they don't know him, I say, oh, from Jimmy Fallon show. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Instant.
Yeah, and people really like them because they're super talented musically. They can
Yeah,
do
they're a whole band
anything.
and they play
Yeah,
anything.
they're
You told me when I lived with you, this is probably 2015 maybe. If the Roots are ever anywhere near you, do not miss the concert. And I have
yep,
not since then.
yep,
I've seen them on consecutive days. I've been in other cities. I haven't been to Roots Picnic yet. Next year,
yeah.
I
I've
wanted to
always
go,
wanted to
but
go to that.
I didn't. The COVID stuff was kind of like, So next year, but yeah, so definitely the
The one
Roots.
that I haven't been to that for the concert that they've done is they always come out here, or they used to come out here
Yeah,
for the Academy Awards,
yeah, I
and it was
know.
a secret until and you needed to
Can't get in.
have super secret access.
You're close
The
enough now. You could get it.
well, so I feel like the concert we're going to on New Year's Eve is going to be not it's not going to be Roots Presents where they have a bunch of
Yeah. Oh
artists,
no, I feel the same way. That's what I
but
wanted the
we're
late show.
going yeah, but we're going to the Disney Amphitheater. We're going to a place where the Philharmonic is being done and
Yeah,
the
in
Roots are
the
going to
middle
be
of
there.
LA,
And
downtown.
we're right there in the front. Not without a great deal of expense to all of us who are going, but
Worth it, man.
it's worth it. It's going
If
to be
you
great, I
can,
think.
right? And my love to anybody who doesn't have the means. I've been lucky enough to bubble up, but once I could, I definitely spent, because experience is kind of what it's about, right? And that's where music has always tied in for me because I can remember certain events and times that happened, exactly what song I was listening to. First
Hmm.
time I heard this song, where I was, who told me to send it, or who sent it to me, etc. So, okay, that was a great list.
Far Side Running Away, always when you say remembering a certain event and moment in time,
Oh man,
that song has a special place in
yeah,
my mind and history.
that's for the special access. You got to pay for the Patreon to get that story. Um, but yeah, so okay, that was a good list too. And I'm excited to hear so I tell there's a few people who I respect musical, not musical opinion because that doesn't sound fair, but like hip hop opinion for sure.
Yeah,
And when I talked, it's you, it's my boy Algernon Marbley, and my boy David Scott. And so if a new album comes out, I usually hit you three. There's other people I hit, what I mean? That's not to say because I got tons of homies that are really big on music and no, but you guys really fit the same way I think of hip hop and what rap is. I have friends, and of course people don't. You can choose who you like, but people that don't like Kendrick, and I'm already kind of like, if you don't like that, we're not talking about the same
we're
thing.
not. Yeah,
So there's nothing wrong with that. Like I'm gonna come to you for other stuff, put me up on whatever other slaps, but we're just not gonna. So now we're not having the top five MCs. It's for fun at that point, like
yeah.
kind of
I
thing.
hear you. I do the same thing, right? So there's the people that I'll talk to is even probably more limited. You got three or four, but it's really you. Our friend Dread likes to share stuff,
Yeah, Dread
and
thinks cool
but
stuff. Word
yeah,
is
and
Dread.
he puts me on some stuff that I haven't seen before. But when Dredd shares things with me, he shares with things with me that he likes, and so he
Correct.
shares that. Where the one thing that you always do is you
Every time.
share stuff with me that you think I'll like,
Yep.
and
And I'm
you're like,
usually
I
right.
think, and yeah, oh yeah, and like I
Usually
said, this
right.
is 25 years in the making.
Yeah,
We know each other's musical tastes.
definitely.
So and so yeah, there's not a lot of people that I'll get too deep into music. And I appreciate that. I call myself a hip hop snob, right? Like someone will
Yeah.
come and say something that's not in what I consider real hip hop.
I know. I'm
And
trying not to say any names of specific artists or people, so I'm just leaving it there too.
yeah,
And I don't
yeah,
I
I'm
don't want
trying
to.
not to be,
I listen to everybody, but I know exactly what you're saying. So sorry, I
yeah.
can. If you see me on the street or talk to me, hit me. I'll tell you what what I mean. But yeah, no, definitely.
But so where are we going with top artists or
So you gave me some of the artists, you gave me some of the albums. Out of those, so you listed the hip hop greats basically. Most of these albums you actually sent us to. Um, so I think we're kind of getting that. I'm trying to keep it well rounded ish. And
I
speaking
didn't
in that
pick
line,
I didn't say this, but because I didn't pick any one particular one of his albums,
J.
and
Cole.
that's J. Cole.
Yeah.
And that's because the way we consume music now is different. And
Definitely.
so most of what I listen to with J. Cole is playlists that span all of his albums, but love his music.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I think that's really the only. And then Rakim, I didn't mention any one of
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
albums
That's
specifically,
just legendary.
but that's just because again he's legendary.
No, I got you. I think that's a great list. And if
Oh,
you haven't heard these albums, check them out. Go ahead.
J Live.
Oh yeah, I was wondering about that too, because them that's not is when you put me on, and you talk about storytelling. Beat Change, like that's one of my favorite joints.
Them he has such an underrated accumulation of great music, not good music, great music, where he hits the lyrics and gets you. Then that's great, but One for the Griot is one of those songs that, when you want to make some friends laugh and hear some of the best lyrics that you can hear in a song. One for the Griot is one that almost always surprises
What's
people.
the one about the sidewalks? Where
Called
he's talking.
Sidewalks.
Yeah, okay. Because he's like basically saying how he grew up on the sidewalks. He wasn't on the street.
Yep.
And like obviously I related to that too. So that ties
Me
into
too.
me too, because I was gonna ask you like, and you can do both of these, right? Like who one an artist that we should be listening to if we're not up on them, and then who's underrated in your opinion? It could be the
Yeah,
same person.
it's gonna be the same person. It's J Live, kind of as mentioned. I think all other people also missed out on Little Brother.
Yeah.
So the Yo-Yo remix and loving
Yeah.
it. But basically anything from kind of the
Oh,
album Minstrel Show is just
dang.
great.
I forgot about
Um,
that.
yeah, when he starts talking about Trick Daddy on Poetry Night, the first time I heard it, I busted up laughing, and I play it just to hear that line. So if folks aren't up on the Yo-Yo remix, it's the remix by Little
Oh
Brother.
man.
Go check that out. You can stream it pretty easily. More recently, I feel like Royce the 5'9" doesn't get the kind of the credit he deserves.
That's a solid one.
Um, the Book of Ryan is a really great album.
Fantastic.
And then I hear a lot of people who cherry pick the song Boblo Boat because it's got J. Cole and Caterpillar
Yeah,
because
because
it had
Eminem's on it.
Eminem.
Yeah.
But even then they miss like the remix with Logic on it instead of Eminem, which is actually really good. But and then there's all types of like rappers that have done some amazing stuff. Uh, you know, I think Talib Kweli still kind of gets slept on a little bit. Um,
Yeah. If you're
he's
not in those
you know
circles.
yeah, if you don't know who he is, then you might not recognize him because he doesn't have a Lil Wayne type following, but
Yeah.
his music is consistently very good. Some people have a little bit of a struggle if they follow on social
Yeah,
media.
the online antics. I was gonna say it
He
like,
gets he
but
gets into it, and
he
that's
can do what he
him. That's what he
wants.
wants to
Yeah,
do. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
he's always fighting on the right side of things.
sure.
Um, I feel like I need to say Toby and Wigway.
Yeah,
He's a very interesting dude. I found him on the Tiny Desk concerts,
yeah.
which
He's
was
got some slaps.
absolutely outstanding. And then it took me a minute to put it together, but like Father Figure is incredible, which also has my favorite rapper ever,
Yeah,
Black Thought, and Royce the 5'9". So there's just a bunch. He's got the song Hesitate, he's got To Leave and Banner and Bun and Curimo and like a whole
yeah. I
bunch
gotta
of
go back to it.
people mess with him because
Oh, he's nice.
they recognize
He's
he's
lyrically
nice.
nice. Yeah,
But I
I
don't
mean,
think
he says
I don't
something.
th- if you walk down the street, even at a hip hop concert, and said, "Hey, are you up on Toby and Wigway?" They would be like, "Who? What'd you just say?"
Yeah, he's. I think he's expanding, but yeah, for sure, he's not to the like full mainstream yet. I don't think, but he's getting there.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I think that's it's a good list. It's I mean it's more I'm hoping that people if you listen to this and for one people that know you will get a different side, but also, maybe some music to check out because that's all
yeah.
anything I ever do is to share more
Check
music.
out J Live. I mean, he consistently his albums are great to listen to from beginning to end. There's always a few songs that you would pull out and put in playlists. He's got a lot of stuff that's both storytelling, the bravado kind of style of rap. He's not like a battle rapper. He's not talking about other people, but he's boasting
Yeah,
about
he'll
his skill
floss on his own.
sets. There's intellectual, there's fun, it's just a really he's really good and really underrated. One for the Griot, and then that's not being a couple of my favorite songs. Someone whose music I didn't say earlier, but our boy Drew Bomani, I've always really appreciated his view on music. It's different,
Oh man,
um,
yeah. That's right.
but
What's up?
that's
What's
because
up?
he's a musician himself.
Indeed. Yeah.
But if he ever came to me and said, "Hey man, check this out," I know that he says that knowing that he thinks that I will like it.
Sure.
And I used to have friends in the past that were along the same lines, and some of my favorite artists and favorite music was brought to me by them. But yeah, so
No, I think that's what it's about, right? Like to me, it's always about the share. And one of the best feelings for me, and you've given me this a lot with new songs, is like when you hear a new song for the first time and something about it grabs your ear, and then you just get now it's in like there's times for like a couple days, like I'll put it on after every other song, play something else, and then I got to run it back. Like, oh man, did you hear what he said, or just this beat? Typically for me, it's production because I just love beats. And
mhm.
you were the first person's car that I drove with any slap in it. You have subs, right? So that's
Yep.
subwoofer, the slap. And for anybody watching, slap is music, smack is food and other things. A party doesn't slap, a party can smack. Only music slaps. Your trunk is banging, blapping, like slapping you in the ear. That's where it comes from. So it's 40 water in the bay.
I was gonna
That's
say
where it comes from,
80/40.
right? Shot. So obviously one of my favorites. But yeah, so instantly, like something else I did, as soon as I had any kind of car of my own and more than a couple dollars, sound system's the first thing I do. Every new car I get, I haven't, my last car, shout out to Min and Music in Motion. He actually got the car for me and I told him, please just take it straight to your shop and put the speakers in. Like I don't even want to drive it. I don't want to see it until the speakers are in. So you gave me that too, which is dope. Just something about, I don't know, just the sonics of it. And that's where it's always got me. And then in that vein, right? So it's vibes and music and stuff and the people who make the music. Who are some of your favorite producers or people that actually create the beats that you hear their sound, you're like, oh man, I like this.
Yeah.
I knew this was so and so because I could tell by how it sounded.
So obviously number one is Jay Dilla.
Rest in
And
peace.
and with Dilla, I think you helped me put together that he was my favorite rapper. So we were listening in Hawaii to
Hey,
Slum Village,
yeah,
and I'm
love the
like,
Dilla
man,
the
this
rapper.
is yeah, and well,
You know,
but the beats were just, I was like, wow, this is amazing. What's going on here? The way that he sampled, um, he there's a great story if you can find it on the internet that's told by Questlove about Jay Dilla making the Little Brother beat for Talib and Mos Def. So there's a song that's not really anywhere that you can find easily. You can find it on the internet
oh
now,
yeah,
but
easy, so good.
it's called Little Brother, and that the story. But the story behind the process that he used to create that beat, which was not easy.
He's an
It
artist,
made
like you
me
said.
realize how wonderful he is. And then I went back and said, oh well, what else has he done? And realized that
Everything you ever liked.
80%, yeah, 80% of the music that I had liked growing up, and even
Yeah,
he did Janet Jackson, he did
I
so
was gonna
much of
say,
Tribe
yeah,
Called Quest. He was all
tons of
over
stuff.
so many different
Erica Badu, tons
things.
of.
Eric, yeah. And so he was, and now he's iconic. I'm sitting in my office, and there's only one poster. I have my degree and my grandfather's pictures. I have one picture in here, and it's a picture of Jay Dilla making
On
beats.
the NBC. Yeah,
In my mind, this is where I work, and
that's
I
fire.
see him putting in work, sitting at the desk.
That's fire. I didn't even know that's why you did that. That's fire. I've seen it. Obviously, I noticed it, but I didn't.
Yeah,
That's fire. That's
but
dope.
that's
The
why it's in the office.
Is there anyone else like
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
obviously there's tons, but I'm just thinking
yeah.
of
No ID, Questlove, obviously, because so much what he
the
does.
roots.
Neptune's
Yeah.
Q-Tip, DJ Quick and Timberland.
Yeah.
Obviously DJ Premier and Dr. Dre. Those are kind of
Yeah. Well, everything
people
in
everyone
hip
knows.
hop, I see. I get
Yeah, but yeah. If to narrow it down, it would be Dilla and Questlove and Q-Tip and probably DJ Quick and probably
yeah, quick
Timberland,
is
which may not fit the style all the time, but I appreciate Timberland's. There's a magic about when he makes a
yeah.
beat. You
Everything
know,
everyone you mentioned is an artist and does what they do so masterfully that they create something brand new that has a ton of musicality.
yeah.
So I can
Um,
see you had a
and
lot of East Coast guys too.
I didn't mention her name, but underappreciated is Missy Elliott.
Oh man, yeah. Word to Missy. Yeah, definitely. I was I was listening to her joints on the ride home, going crazy. Word. Okay. No, that's dope. What? So we got producers. We're seeing you're a hip hop head, obviously, which I know.
Yeah,
This is for anyone else listening. But now, what are some songs? So like we see your hip hop, and you're very much a hip hop purist. That's what I think
right.
of when I think of you. Like if it's, you know, I don't send you the stuff that I think is borderline. I'll put it like that. Like maybe if you were riding with me one day, I might just let it play and see if it catches your ear, but I
Right.
wouldn't send it to you because it's not gonna, it ain't gonna hit. So of that though, there's songs that you listen to that you might be by yourself, or you might just certain songs that make you think of a moment. Like what are those songs that you listen to that people would be like, you listen to this?
Yeah, and and people even now when I'll do it, like my wife will be like, well, why that song? Like, but Trick Daddy. I like Trick Daddy more than
Oh, he's great.
than most people
Trick is
would
great.
probably expect that I
Trick love the
would,
kids.
given Trick loves the kids. The music video, nothing better than watching him order fried chicken at the country club. But
I'm a thug is the song he's talking about. If you haven't heard it, and the beat's
yeah,
fantastic.
I've always found him clever and real.
That's
I
true.
mean, those are the two things that just kind of describe his music, and I've always really liked it. So Trick Daddy. People might be surprised that I like Ti as much as I do because he's kind of a different. He's more
He's
popular.
Yeah, he's changed a
Um,
lot though. Because when he first started, I think
yeah,
I was
when I
telling you about Ti when I was in
Rubber
Atlanta.
Band. Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah. Um, I really like Mike Jones. Um,
yeah, that I knew.
and yeah, get a little liquor in me,
Yeah,
and I'll probably be singing along. That comes with the kind of the production and stuff with Paul Wall, but it's more Mike Jones. Um, yeah, back then,
yeah, yeah.
might have been an anthem for me at a point in time, a personal anthem. He wrote that song for me, just in case y'all were wondering. Um, One song that would probably be the most surprising is "Down from My Ends" by C Murder.
Oh man,
I don't really support C Murder.
yeah, or the N
I don't
words.
even use the word.
Yeah, yeah.
But whatever it is about that song,
That that beat is so
it grabbed
raucous,
me.
and
It
just
really
it's an
is.
anthem instantly. Like man, it's
Yeah,
yeah,
and so I
that's
think,
funny.
yeah, that was
I could see you
people who
not
know
saying any of
me.
the words, but just kind of rocking to it.
Yeah. I was like, where's the edited version?
Yeah.
But no, I love I like that song more than people would probably expect.
Oh man, see that one was yeah. I didn't think about that. I mean, we listened to it, but not like that. So that's a all right. That's a good one. What about do you have any musical talent of your own?
None,
You know,
like
like
literally none.
no dream to rap. You don't thumb on the table. It's a little beat. You're just chilling, sing in
I
the
do
shower.
all of those things poorly.
That's how I feel about golf.
So it was when I was at Morehouse. There was one time where we decided to record the little group that I was hanging with there,
Oh, get out of here.
rapping, and I spent my time and I'm writing my little rhyme, and we're going to do it later in the evening. He's like, oh, everyone else was just talented and had grown up in that and done ciphers and things like that. And they came from all over. We had people from Mississippi and Houston and all of their
Yeah,
stuff. And
one
so
great thing about the house. Yeah.
and so I there's a video of me rapping. I made sure that when I left Morehouse, I took it.
Oh
Uh,
wow. Okay, I
and
heard that. I
and
was gonna say it's out
years
there. This
oh
guy's
yeah,
hilarious.
years later, one of my roommate at the time actually, like, hunt me down. He was going to wanted to become a lawyer and a respected person and politician and all this stuff, and he sent me like a threatening email,
Oh,
like,
bro,
I
you don't
haven't
have to do
talked to
all
you in a
that.
long time, but
Yeah. Hey, could,
if that sees the light of day, I'm coming for you. It
calm
almost
down,
made me
bro.
wanted to put that out, but
Right.
but
Yeah,
the
but
reason
that's
I
still
got
yeah.
it, yeah, the reason I
So
got it
that
is because
you're
I
not
didn't
out
want
there.
so I'm not
Yeah.
out there. So
That's I
that
never
was,
knew that.
yeah. But there's one time I put a lot of effort in there. It wasn't horrible, but any human being who has to put that much effort to not be horrible is bad,
Yeah.
and I was bad.
I swear
Um,
this is me in golf. I hate it.
I
Everything
play,
you're
yeah.
saying. Crazy.
I played the keyboard. My mom got me keyboard lessons. Um, I I have a good memory, so I can
Definitely.
remember
Yeah.
sequences.
S-
Um, and
Unfortunately
so
for many people.
and so I could play the notes, but I couldn't give it life.
Mm,
And so
that's
that was
deep.
always kind of, so I always joke with people, I'm a
That's deep.
professional appreciator of great music.
Yes, I
I
agree with that.
have no ability to
I think
be part
like
of
we
that.
got a little because Caressa can rap and she can sing, and then I got a couple little bars. Like I feel like I can, if I need to, like
You
if you
get
like you said, get the liquor in me and I'll battle anybody.
right.
Like, no problem. And it's gonna get really personal, so I'm just gonna apologize before we start. But it's gonna be funny. But yeah, no, that's dope. What about when are you a music all the time person? Like every activity has a music mood, or you kind of like, it's when I'm in that mode, I'm in that mode, and otherwise I'm not.
If I'm in the car, there's music on all the time.
Gotta be.
I've never been able to use when I was getting my master's degree and I was listening to books on tape, recorded books,
Sure.
so that I could get my studying in and all that kind of stuff. It was actually painful to not have a fairly long drive and go and do that. And I recognized pretty quickly that it wasn't because the books were boring. Some of them were actually pretty good.
Sure.
It was because I missed that time with music. When I'm trying to work on like if I'm knee deep in a spreadsheet doing budget for budget season or something like that, I'll always have music on. I can't do one thing at a time, and so music has always been that other thing, so I
Mm,
can focus on the lyrics and focus on the other thing. I always have two or three things going on. If you ever watched football with me, the reason why there needed to be two or three or four games and now six or seven is because I, I I'm always trying to do something. I'm on my phone, doing
yeah.
something.
Gosh, do we?
Um, and
That's deep.
so yeah, so music was always the other thing, right? So I'd be doing whatever and doing that. I'd play video games when I played video games. When I would
Oh
do
yeah.
that with music on and the game sometimes on silent.
Yep.
When they started creating games that had their own playlist and you could hack it and put your own music
Yeah.
in there.
Xbox did a great
Um,
thing with that. They let you just play your own music. That was dope.
yeah, and, I was all in on that. I never had an Xbox, but there was ways to get around
Yeah.
that, especially with computer systems
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
just
You're a PC gamer,
calling
so
files. So,
yeah.
but yeah, so it's always been omnipresent. When I'm doing stuff in the backyard or I'm hanging out in the backyard, or if I'm swimming or anything like that, there's always music on. One of the reasons I like the house that we bought a couple years ago is because it came with a full home
Yeah. Already
sound
wired up.
system.
Yeah.
And I doubt the people who put the sound system in intended my music to come out of it, but
Nor the
that's what
modifications you
it
made too.
does. Yeah.
Yeah. Got you. Okay. Do you all right, because I kind of always wonder that, right? Because I noticed like I'm really into music too, but like sometimes, like if I'm just kind of chilling, I won't have it on. But like when I lived by myself, like I got roommates now. When I lived by myself, like all the time.
All the
But
time.
I had roommates, so I mean not roommates, but other neighbors. I was in an apartment complex, so you play it through a little speaker or your headphones, but you just have it going. And ride without music is like I've had to do it in like whatever, I'm using someone else's car or whatever. Man, let me get where I'm going quick.
For kids changes how and when you listen to music a little bit.
Definitely.
So, I've got a pretty good Pandora playlist. It's an edited playlist. So whenever I want edited playlist, it's Pandora. Whenever I want unedited playlist, it's Amazon Music or Apple Music or things like that. In the house, we're mostly listening to Pandora playlists, um, just because I've got 5 and 7 year olds running around. And before that, I had now
Right.
15, 23 year olds. So there's always been that, and there's always music. And
Definitely.
I have a lot of memories with that, but it's different. So it's not always on these days, but it's on a lot. And
Definitely.
maybe it's now something where it's a little bit lower, so I can hear it, but the rest of
Yeah.
the house isn't going to hear
Basically what your grandpa used to do.
it.
That's pretty deep. Do you so in that vein, because like we talked about like what our parents' music meant, our grandparents' music meant, going that way towards legacy, like when your kids, and not that you get to decide, right? They'll decide, but when I think about my dad's music, it's all stuff I jam to. And when it comes on now that he's passed it, like brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah.
So, and I just think of all the influences, like you said, of stuff he put for me, etc. So when your kids think of you, what do you, if you have your way and they look back and they say, oh, this is dad's music, what is their thought of it? And what do they say?
I don't know if they're gonna get there. Liv, if you watch this, Maddie B is not rap. And, but
I hope you do, Livy.
when I would love for them to appreciate the musicianship of the music that I think I like and listen to. I would love for them to be able to appreciate the wordplay of really great and talented rappers, because I think some of the most intelligent linguists are rappers being able to, do double, triple entendres. Um, that teaches an intelligence that you're not going to be able to get by reading a book, and
Mm, well
and
said.
being able to be that slick with your tongue comes in handy when you're
Get the gab,
talking in business and
mouthpiece. Yep,
all
many
of
words
that.
for
Yeah.
it. Absolutely.
So I would love for them to get to that point, but at the same time, um, a lot of the music that they hear most of the time going to places is not
Yeah,
my music. And but at some point in time, hopefully, we took Austin to a hip hop concert. We took him to the Roots. Um, I don't think he became a huge Roots fan, but I do think that going there, he has a story and a memory and an
definitely.
appreciation for what the Roots do, which is unique, right? He got to see them play all of the music and them do covers for all the more popular stuff, watching them do E40 or whatever it is, right? And you would be hard pressed to say that the Roots are not great music and
Definitely.
musicians.
Yeah, they make rock songs, they make rap songs. Like, yeah, they could do it all. Okay, so this is kind of trending back. Like, this is just a random one I was having. Like, is there any like a soundtrack or TV theme song that you really liked that just like, because I definitely have TV theme songs that are in my playlists that's
Yeah.
random as hell, or like soundtracks, Above the Rim, or um, what's the other one I think of?
Well, for me, it's
The
Brown
Show,
Sugar. Streets
Brown
is
Sugar.
watching. Yeah, Streets is watching. Streets is watching is almost cheating because it's basically
Yes,
an
cheesy.
album that
Yeah,
they then created kind of a video to go along with, right? The music was created and then they
way ahead of their time.
created the visual. Bulworth was really great.
Oh wow,
I played that
wow.
a lot. Menace to Society, Boys of the Hood.
Well,
I
yeah,
played those a
yeah,
lot back in the day.
yeah.
New Jack City. You could pretty much figure out how old I am. Def Jam's How to Be a Player
Yeah, so basically all the
had
hip
some.
hop inspired movies that had soundtracks.
Yeah. Def Jam's How to Be a Player was a kind of a slick one. But yeah. Who's the Man for one particular reason? That's where Biggie's first
Yeah,
song ever
Party
was.
MBS. Yeah, it's a
And
hard.
the minute I heard that song, I'm like, this is pretty good. And then dismissed it until later on when the album came out and was like, oh, wait a minute, it's that dude.
Yeah,
That so
yeah, big man. Rest in
yeah.
peace. Got you. Yeah,
Soul
no, these are.
Food, Goody Mob songs on there's like two or three great tracks on Soul Food. All right, I just went, but
That comes soundtrack.
oh yeah, that's
Or
Soul.
the
So uh God, what is
what?
um
What?
God, what's the I'm trying to remember. I'm like I want to look it up at this point in time,
Oh
but
yeah, I'm looking too because I
there's
didn't.
they have the Goody Mob has a few
Wow,
songs, a few tracks on there. In Due Time, one of my favorite songs ever.
wow. I didn't realize this was the first album. Wow, I got to go back to this. Interesting. Wow. Okay. Okay. That's solid. All right. So what about switching to kind of to the live music? Because we're talking about seeing the Roots in concert. We're gonna see them again soon. Concert, like the best concert you've been to or most memorable, and then have you discovered any artists from being at a concert?
Yeah. So first concert was Soul to Soul. Um, Favorite concert was the Roots concert we went to at Rincon.
Yeah, that
And
was nice.
that was a special concert because one, we took Austin, and it was kind of, there's no more random event than that. He got home from wherever he was walking in as we were packing the car. We had an extra ticket. We said, "Hey, do you want to go with us to a concert and a casino for the night?" He said, "Sure." We said, "Great, you got 5 minutes to pack. We're getting in the
Yeah,
car."
let's go.
Threw
Yep.
some crap in the car, got one over there. But we were front row center for the Roots. It was a great concert, but it was different because it was in an auditorium of like
Yeah, it was like a ballroom at a
yeah, it was like a
hotel
ballroom.
casino.
But we were front and center, and so we were able to sit right there,
Yeah,
front and center, and watch the show. We stood up when we wanted to stand up, but
yeah,
we weren't obligated to stand up because we had the whole world right in front of us. We didn't have the pit and all the other stuff. But it was so much fun. It was so much fun because you were there, because Andrea was there, because Austin was there. We had a great time that evening.
yep.
I drank a few cocktails.
Yeah, it was fun.
Um, yeah, it was just yeah. So that's my favorite memory of a concert. I will say I have high expectations, and for this concert we're going to on New Year's Eve,
Yeah, I think it has
Roots
some
New Year's
potential.
Eve. I think yeah, the pieces are there to be one of our great memories for concerts. And I've been to a lot of concerts, or for a period of time. My boy Matt and I and others were members of the House of Blues, and we used to go to tons of
Nice.
concerts there. We would go to the concert just to go to the foundation room upstairs and drink, and then we come down and hang out. And maybe not always what we wanted, but I got to see A Tribe Called Quest. I got to see so many great
That's
artists,
dope. I never got to see
and
Tribe.
so yeah, I saw some really great folks in some of those concerts. But anyways, favorite concert is that Roots one we went to. Um, Discovered People. Uh, yeah, I mean, I
That's
usually
just
know who the artists are before I go and see them, even when they open up. But
yeah,
Kanon
yeah,
was one I had never heard of until I
yeah. We
saw
were
him
at that
open
show
up.
together for the Roots.
Yeah, and that was he was way better than I thought he could be. And then I went and listened to his album. I don't think he ever like blew up, but he had
Yeah,
a
but he was.
he bubbled. People had appreciation for him as a
Yeah,
lyricist.
hopefully he got to do whatever he wanted to do with it. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
could have just been a means to an end for whatever. So yeah, he was nice. Nice. Okay. Yeah. No, the I think the live music is always something that it brings it all together, right? Especially hip hop shows. If you haven't been, like, it's just so much fun. Like just the energy, of the crowd, and everybody vibing. It's like it's so much fun, man. But yeah, I thank you, man. This has been great. I mean, we could probably do this all night, but I'm gonna try and keep this at like a consumable
Yeah.
amount of time for people. So um I'll leave you with this one, man. Like you sign up out, but give me, and you kind of did touch on this because you said all that the albums
Yeah.
you ranked are gonna be all these people, but your favorite, you're a huge hip hop head, your favorite rappers, and we're not gonna make you do a top 10, but
No, but
just
I'm so here's what I'll leave you with. Um, some unpopular opinions, which like Lil Wayne I think he's overrated, and
okay.
people think he's one of the greatest. The greatest MC, this is another unpopular opinion, is Black Thought, and no
Easy.
one's surprised to hear me say it if you know me, but if you actually put a little bit of effort into looking at the body of work that he's been doing for 30 years, he has one of the best freestyles ever put on at a radio.
A
I
funk
mean,
flex, 10
broke
minutes strong.
yeah. He's just now getting the ability to do features on other people's stuff, and so people are recognizing him, and that has to do with the show. But you never ever hear him have bad lyrics.
Oh no.
um and the music is so consistent, so crisp. When he does a concert, he's doing stuff. He'll take
Spot
other
on.
people's beats, and uh I think people have no understanding of just how great he is. So he's my favorite. And then of the new rappers, it's Kendrick and J. Cole by far for me.
Yeah, no, I think that's, yeah, they're all in line with that
Yeah.
heavy hip hop head focus. Was the Roots the no? It couldn't have been. Like I was to say, was the first CD or tape you were buying with your own money, but you started
Oh
working
hell no.
earlier, so it would
It
have
was
been way
Mary
before
J.
that.
Blige. What's the 411?
Oh, classic.
Followed by Another Bad Creation.
Still both hip hop attempting. ABC was
Yeah.
Michael Bivins too, though, so that's all produced by
Yeah. Well, and that was Mary J. Blige. What's the 411 before she had changed the features on there, right? So it started off with what's his name? Uh, Craig Mack, and then they took him off and put someone else when she blew up, put Method and stuff on
wow.
there. But it was Craig Mack to start.
Wow, didn't even know that. Now the song makes sense. In the beginning of Craig Mack song, he's the yo, Mac, I don't even understand what happened to you in that Mary joint.
Mary Joint.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
The big popular song that started off for Mary J. Blige that blew up. Everyone heard it with with Method, but it was recorded in the first versions of the album when they first got out had Craig
That's
Mack
sick. Bro, that's crazy because just the way music has changed. Like we've been able to like we had tapes and we actually, took a tape to a tape or radio to a actual
on. Oh yeah,
cassette tape and then CDs to tapes because we didn't have a CD player necessarily in the car. So
yeah,
you could burn them to tapes and then CD to CD. And then my first MP3s came from you too.
yeah.
So it's and now streams. Like I don't have anything. I
I
have
used to have a
one.
full hard drive computer in my car just
Oh
so I could
yeah.
listen to all the music.
I think I let someone borrow mine, but I had like 10,000 songs on there because I had to have them with me in case
I
I
had
lost them.
a it was an actual unit that had two spinning hard drives that were filled that lit it was called Vivix or something like that, and it loaded up onto the screen and you could go through and pick either
Oh
playlists
man,
or so I was
bruh.
rolling around with like 30, 40,000 songs and whenever I was driving down the street.
Insane too, because man, I'll sit in the car all day trying to play another song, which is insane. But bruh, okay, not well, B man, I can't thank you enough. I don't know if there's any
Thank you.
last musical thing you want to touch on because I know I sent you a bunch of questions, and some of it. I'm just excited to do it, and I'm trying to maintain a timestamp. I said too, so I'm just
Yeah,
thankful,
no, this
thankful.
was so much fun. Yeah, I know you're going to do some really amazing things with this podcast, and so thank you for
Thank you.
letting me be part of it. You
First
mentioned it
guest, man.
earlier. You mentioned it earlier. Tomorrow is your dad's birthday, and I always think about him because he brought us together, and so happy birthday to him. And no, that's it, man.
Love you, Dad. A lot of music, man, shared. There'll be continue to be music shared. Thanks for your influence and putting me on, man. And I'm not the hip hop head I am now without you. So I appreciate you, brother. I love you, man. Thanks for being my first guest, and I'll talk to you in a bit.
All right.